He was, you just went in when you started to do things. He was like Valentino, he was like Buster Keaton. His face held you. I mean, for a movie star, similar to this lady here, that's half your talent. To draw you in, and then when you say something, when you speak, you're in, you're with them, you follow them. And Elliot had that, just was amazing. I was just sort of, the only thing he did before BLITZ was Aladdin at school. So, there you have it.
Which he excelled at. It's an excellent Jamie. It's not any different working with a child, really. I mean, if they're good, then they're good, and he is. And usually, I actually enjoy working with younger people more because they still have the light in their eyes. As Steve was saying, actually, just a bit, it's true. I think that, when you do this for a long time, your relationship with it starts to become deeper but more complex. Whereas to work with someone who's so new and fresh and is seeing it all for the first time, it reminds you of why you got into this in the first place, and everything is incredibly honest. Nothing is inauthentic. Everything that he was giving to me felt so real, so I had to make sure that I always met his level in terms of the performance. So I think he really kept all of us on our toes, actually.
And just to add to that, I think what happened with Saoirse and Elliot, to work with a child it's not pretend, it's real for him. So you see how Saoirse, works in a way which is so elevated that it's there, because after a certain point, it was just a case of me saying action and hoping it was in focus, and that was it, because it was real. What was occurring. It was very beautiful to witness.
I wonder if you could speak a little bit about your research process for this, because there's so much here, and I guess one of maybe the best compliments that you get from this film is perhaps that everybody has been saying, "Oh, I didn't know that there was black jazz clubs in South London at that time, or there would have been Benjamin Clementine's character. I didn't know there would have been a Nigerian serviceman in London." I wonder if you could talk a little bit about your research process and where'd you go looking? What were you kind of looking for? Yes.
Well, it was, again, when I started to do the research in the BLITZ, it was like it was like finding things out. It was like a sci-fi movie, because all this information, all this stuff I hadn't seen before. I hadn't seen before in movies. I hadn't seen before anywhere. And then you start thinking yourself, well, why? Because it was shallow mining. There's a large Chinese community in London. There was a fairly large black community. There were 3 black clubs in central London off 7 Dials, where Donmar Theatre was. Mickey Davis, the small gentleman who basically was one of the curators of National Health Service. You start thinking, okay, then people made choices. Women, again, the whole idea of their contribution to the war, which was massive. It was 50% of the war effort. But we're always in the field somewhere in France, seeing who could kill more people on a certain day. So it was amazing to work with Josh Levine, who wrote the book Secret History of the BLITZ, is our main historical advisor. The Imperial Museum, who I worked with when I was in Iraq. There's and other sort of places that you could find things and talk to people. So it's extraordinary. So it's kind of like, to see the images on what you see on the screen. These images had never been seen before, but they were about what was going on in that time. And it's sort of, you have to understand that the certain pictures, obviously it was a choice what they showed, and I want to show a different kind of choice, the reality of what was going there. Because at the same time, just to add one more thing, I knew the first thing someone would say to me was, is that real? Did it happen? That was the first thing, so it had to be steeped in historical accuracy.
So your research for it also, where do you go looking at, what things are you looking to draw for your performance? Is there anything specific?
I think, to be honest, I was drawing the most from my own relationship with my mother. That's kind of what we built the character and that dynamic between her and George around, was the conversations that we had initially about our relationships with our mums. And that was the reason why I wanted to get involved, because I wanted to honour that. It's something that has been so formative in my life, and continues to be, and continues to change and evolve. And it very much was like a kind of single parent, one child situation. And I was really interested to explore that. I think actually, as important as it was to have those scenes with Elliot, it was equally as informative for me to spend time with the likes of Hayley Squires and Erin Kellyman, the women who play my friends in the film, because it was a reminder that sort of Rita's